Indian Medical Association withdraws its symbolic protest after the Home Minister Amit Shah assures them of adequate security in their fight against corona in a video conference. The Home Minister also hails the role of the health professionals as frontline warriors against corona. Amid reports of a large number of media persons testing positive for COVID-19, the centre issues an advisory to the media. I&B Ministry asks media persons to take adequate precautions, also urges media houses to take care of their staff in difficult times. Active corona cases stand at around 15,500. Around 4,000 people have recovered, while the death toll stands at 640. Maharashtra continues to remain the worst affected with 251 deaths. Security forces gunned down 4 terrorists in an encounter in Shopian of Jammu and Kashmir. They recover a huge cache of arms and ammunition. And in a biggest FDI in recent times, Facebook invests 43,574 crore rupees in Jio Platforms, a unit of Reliance Industries. Namaskar and welcome to the news. I'm Mark Lynn. Here's our top story. The Indian Medical Association has withdrawn its symbolic protest. This is after the Home Minister Amit Shah held a video conference with the medical personnel and members of the IMA and assured them of adequate security and full cooperation from the centre. The Indian Medical Association had demanded that the centre bring in a law on an urgent basis to protect medical professionals from attacks on duty, as well as this is amid the rising incidence of violence against health workers on the front line in the fight against COVID-19. The IMA tweeted saying that the Home Minister has assured that the government will take all necessary steps and come out shortly with relevant legislations to address safety and dignity of doctors and healthcare workers. The IMA further said that this assurance, a white alert protest on 22nd and the black day on the 23rd stands withdrawn, and they will maintain the unity and integrity of the country. The Home Minister, Health Minister and all other present at the video conference acknowledged and praised the IMA and the medical community for their great efforts and their sacrifice in these testing times. The Ministry of Information and Broadcasting has issued an advisory to the print and electronic media in the wake of reports of media persons contracting COVID-19 in large numbers. The advisory asks all media persons to take the utmost care and caution while reporting about COVID and also to avoid contracting the illness. It further requested the management of the media houses to take necessary care for their field as well as office staff. The West Bengal government has finally agreed to cooperate with the centre on the visit of interministerial teams. The West Bengal's Chief Secretary has written to the Home Ministry and assured that they will follow the order under the Disaster Management Act and directions of the Supreme Court.
पश्चिम बंगाल के मुख्य सचिव ने आज शाम को पत्र लिखकर गृह मंत्रालय को बताया है कि उन्होंने टीम्स के साथ संपर्क किया है, बैठक की है और उनका ऑन द स्पॉट आंकलन में सहयोग दे रहे हैं। उन्होंने आश्वासन दिया है कि वे आपदा प्रबंधन अधिनियम के तहत पारित आदेश एवं माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के निर्देशों का पालन करेंगे। गृह मंत्रालय पश्चिम बंगाल सरकार के निर्णय का स्वागत करता है।
Earlier in a letter to the West Bengal Chief Secretary, the Home Secretary had strongly, in fact, objected to the reports of non-cooperation with the central interministerial teams that visited West Bengal and asked the state government to cooperate. Meanwhile, 2 central teams are expected to start their work in the state following the assurance of the state government. The number of active cases of COVID-19 in the country has reached 15,474. The number of those who have recovered and have been discharged has gone up to 3,869. There have been 640 deaths and 1 migration, bringing the total to 19,984. While Maharashtra have reported 5,218 cases so far, Delhi and Gujarat have reported more than 2,000 cases each till now. Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh have reported more than 1,000 cases so far. The Ministry of Home Affairs has further expanded the list of exempted items from the coronavirus lockdown. According to this new order, the ministry has said that facility for import and export such as pack houses, inspections and treatment facilities for seeds and horticulture produce, research establishments dealing with agriculture and horticulture activities, and inter- and intra-state movement of planting materials and beekeeping related activities and materials are exempted from lockdown measures. Shops selling educational books for students and electric fans are also given a relaxation from lockdown measures. Further, sign-off and sign-on of Indian seafarers at Indian ports and their movement for this purpose, as per the standard operating protocol, is also given exemption. The Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant welcomed the SOPs issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs for disembarking of seafarers at Indian ports. He hoped that the Goans stranded on the high seas will now be able to come home.
Home Secretary ने जो order निकाला, standard operating procedure for the sign-on and sign-off of the Indian seafarers at Indian ports and their movement for the offset purpose. जब मैं उनका स्वागत करता हूं, मैं सभी गोवा के लोगों की तरफ से माननीय पंतप्रधान नरेंद्र मोदी जी का मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं, धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूं। मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ शिपिंग से जो साइन ऑफ और साइन इन करना है वो कल से स्टार्ट होगा और मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ शिपिंग से इसके लिए टीजी शिपिंग से और एक प्रोटोकॉल आने वाला है। कौन सी शिप कौन से इंडियन पोर्ट पे लगेगी, कौन सी शिप कहाँ पे लगेगी और उनके मूवमेंट किस तरह से होगा, इसके लिए सेपरेट एसओपी आने वाली है कल। तो उस एसओपी से देख के बाकी प्रोटोकॉल यहाँ पे निश्चित किया जाएगा।
Further, it has clarified that bedside attendants and caregivers of senior citizens residing in their homes under social sector recharge facilities for prepaid mobile connection under public utilities and food processing units in urban areas under supply of essential goods are included in the exempted services and activities from lockdown measures. The Uttar Pradesh government has ordered for a complete sealing of the Delhi-Noida border till further orders as a precautionary measure to contain the spread of COVID-19 infection in Gautam Budh Nagar district. The decision is based on an observation made by the health department of the district. Citing a reference of new cases of COVID-19 infection in the district and the high volume of traffic movement between Delhi and Noida, the health department recommended sealing of the borders. However, relaxation in commutation has been given to government officials directly involved in handling of COVID-19 related activities and services with valid pass issued by the authorized officials. Apart from them, ambulance services, specialist doctors serving in Noida-based hospitals shall also be allowed to cross the border. Central government officers above the rank of Deputy Secretary with identity cards issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs and media personnel with valid passes issued by the Office of the Additional Commissioner of Police or District Information Officer shall be allowed to commute. Keeping in mind the convenience of media personnel working in Noida, the old system of accepting ID cards shall be in place till the 22nd of April. The relaxation is valid for media personnel only. The Union Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution Minister Ram Vilas Paswan has asserted that there is no shortage of food grains for the poor. He asked Rahul Gandhi to shun his negative mindset after the Congress leaders had attacked the centre over the decision to use surplus rice for making ethanol. The Union Minister said that the central government is committed to the poor and it has a surplus grain stock of 539 lakh tons. He added that it is wrong to say that things like sanitizers or masks are for the use of the rich, as the government wants that even poor can use them.
हम सरकार की तरफ से हमारी मानसा है, दोनों चीज है कि जो गरीब लोग हैं उनको कह दो भूखा नहीं रखा जाए, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ ये कह देना कि आज के समय में सैनिटाइजर जो है अमीर लोगों के लिए है या मास्क अमीर लोगों के लिए है, मैं समझता हूँ ये गलत बात है। हम तो चाहते हैं कि इतना सैनिटाइजर हो जाए कि हम हर गरीब को क्या कहते हैं उसका लाभ क्या कहते हैं कि ले सके और इस वायरस से बचे, और मास्क का क्या कहते हैं कि हर घर में क्या कहते हैं कि प्रयोग हो।
The Rajasthan Director General of Police Bhupendra Yadav yesterday held a meeting with top police officials and district administration at the district commissionerate at Jodhpur. The meeting was aimed at taking feedback from the top officials. Following that, he visited the COVID-19 hotspots, including Nagori Gate and Uday Mandir, where curfew has been imposed. Besides, he also visited other narrow lanes in the city. When the cavalcade of the DGP and other officials reached Nagori Gate, residents greeted them from their rooftops and balconies by clapping and showering flowers to express their gratitude. The DGP, Bhupendra Yadav, said that this is a long fight and the people associated with emergency services are doing a great job. He also appealed to the people to follow guidelines and instructions of the health department during the upcoming holy month of Ramzan so that we can win this war collectively.
प्रयास पूर्णतः सफल तब तक नहीं जब तक जनता का सहयोग साथ में नहीं है। बाय एंड लार्ज राजस्थान में पब्लिक ने, जनता ने अच्छा सपोर्ट किया है। हमारे जवानों के लिए संदेश हमारा यही है कि जिस प्रकार अभी तक उत्साह से, निष्ठा से काम किया है, करते रहें। ये लंबा काम है, लंबी लड़ाई है, 2-4 दिन में ख़त्म होने वाली नहीं है। ये तो आगे आखा तीज भी है, रमज़ान भी है, भावनाएं लोगों की जुड़ी होती हैं, वो समझ में आने वाली बात है। लेकिन वर्तमान हालात को देखते हुए जो निर्देश दिए गए हैं स्वास्थ्य विभाग द्वारा, जो एडवाइजरी जारी की गई है, राज्य सरकार निर्देश जारी किए हैं, उनकी पूर्णतः पालना करें। उसी में उनकी भी भलाई है और समाज में सबकी भलाई है।
The Technology Development Board, a statutory body of the Department of Science and Technology, has approved financial support to MyLab Discovery Solutions Pune for ramping up a production of COVID-19 diagnostic kits that they have developed. The MyLab Discovery Solutions is the first indigenous company to develop real-time PCR-based molecular diagnostic kits that screen and detect COVID-19 from samples of people who display flu-like symptoms. And with the support from the TDP, they will now ramp up the production of kits through the automation of the facility from the current manual process, thereby increasing the current capacity from about 30,000 tests per day to about 1 lakh tests per day. So this kit has been approved by SCMR and CDSCO. The kit will be deployed in a very short notice, considering the national emergency. TDP invited applications from Indian companies and enterprises for containing and preventing the spread of COVID-19. TDP stands for the Technology Development Board. Now moving.
The Technology Development Board of Department of Science and Technology put out a special call looking for these solutions from the companies that have the basic technology, that they have been in some limited production and now they need to scale up that production. The company which is going to receive the support is MyLab from Pune, which makes molecular diagnostic kits for RT-PCR machines. Their plans are ambitious, going from 30,000 kits per day to about 1 lakh kits per day. So that would be a great contribution to our plans of testing larger number of people very quickly.
Amid the nationwide lockdown imposed in the country, laborers and migrants have been the worst hit. And in the city of Chandigarh, in order to ease the situation, the CRPF is distributing cooked food packets to laborers and migrants. The food has been prepared by the Central Reserve Police Force and is being provided to people residing in different parts of the city. The whole country is collectively working together to stay content, that's happy, in these times of global health crisis because of the coronavirus. The school in Gujarat's Surat has also come forward to help students in need, and the school in fact is providing food kits to the families of the students who call them amid the national lockdown. So food packets are being distributed to them. J&K Bank, located in Dharhal block in the remote hill area of Rajouri district in Jammu and Kashmir, is providing facilities like old age pension given to the poor people, and Manrega wages during the lockdown. All this is happening, and customers were seen waiting outside the bank following all the rules of social distancing. They're waiting their turn, we can see there. And along with entering the bank workers were seen sanitizing the hands of all customers, including the elderly. As the world celebrates the 50th Earth Day today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed his gratitude to Mother Earth and said, "On International Day of Mother Earth, we all express gratitude to our planet for the abundance of care and compassion. Let us pledge to work towards a cleaner, healthier, and more prosperous planet." A shout out to all those working at the forefront to defeat COVID-19. Hashtag Earth Day 2020. In Jammu and Kashmir, at least 4 terrorists have been eliminated in an encounter with security forces in Shopian this morning. Security forces launched a cordon and search operation in Melhora area of Shopian on Tuesday night, following information about the presence of terrorists there. The hiding terrorists opened fire at the security forces, who retaliated, triggering a gun battle. Terrorists were neutralized in the exchange of fire. The bodies and weapons of the slain terrorists have been recovered. Facebook today announced an investment of $5.7 billion to buy a 10% stake in Jio Platforms Limited. Facebook has acquired a 9.9% stake in the Indian telecom company of Reliance Jio for $5.7 billion. This is for the very first time when Jio has diluted its stake, in fact, to any other company for a strategic investment. And for Facebook, Jio is its third investment in India, and by far the largest investment, in fact, by any technology company for a minority stake anywhere in the world, and also the largest in the FDI in technology sector in India. The synergy between Jio and Facebook will help realize Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Digital India mission with its ambitious goals of ease of living and ease of doing business. Now some international stories, and the total number of COVID cases has crossed, what's it crossed? 25.6 lakhs globally. That's what it is globally. And the death toll has crossed 1,76,000. The United States, Spain and Italy remain the countries where the most number of cases are being reported. Meanwhile, the U.S. Senate on Tuesday unanimously passed a legislation providing nearly $500 billion in additional federal aid to help small businesses that are hurt by the coronavirus pandemic, and to aid hospitals which are dealing with a large number of seriously ill patients. The bill, which is supported by the White House, will now go to the House of Representatives, where it could be voted upon as soon as Thursday. Meanwhile, the U.S. President Donald Trump has said that his plan to ban immigration into the United States will last for 60 days and apply only to those seeking permanent residence. President Trump said that he will be issuing a temporary suspension of immigration into the United States, and the measure will be in effect for 60 days and then be re-evaluated. About 1,950 inmates and nearly 155 staff at an Ohio prison have tested positive for the coronavirus. The number would make the outbreak at the Marion Correctional Institution in Marion among the largest COVID-19 hotspots in the United States. Nearly 80% of the prison's roughly 2,500 inmates have been affected by the virus. Well, Spain has approved an extension of the country's lockdown to May 9, but eased some limits on children from April 27. Spain's spokesperson, Maria Jesus Montero said that the government was working on a guide that would outline permitted activities, although she alluded to the common sense and responsibility of parents. The British Parliament resumed on Tuesday from an extended Easter break in wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, allowing the lawmakers to scrutinize ministers as criticism grows now about the government's handling of this global crisis. Few lawmakers were in attendance as Britain's Parliament reconvened as members of Parliament seek to adhere to social distancing measures. Senator for the government minister Jacob Rees-Mogg formally proposed a part virtual hybrid parliament to be introduced temporarily as Britain continues to combat the spread of novel coronavirus. Mexico has entered what the government calls phase 3 of the spread of the new coronavirus, the most serious stage as transmission of the virus is intensifying. Mexico has extended government restrictions to contain the spread of the coronavirus until May 30. The government plans to begin easing up the restrictions from June 1 onwards if the current measures are successful. In recent weeks, concerns have mounted about the spread of the highly contagious virus through deportation proceedings. Meanwhile, hundreds of factory workers in Ciudad Juarez protested to call on assembly plants. This is to close and to prevent the spread of the coronavirus after the area residents, after some of them had died last week. At least 4 workers at the U.S. company factories in Mexican border towns died last week. The companies and the workers said apparently linked to cases of the novel coronavirus. And many of Mexico's border factories are disobeying orders, in fact, to suspend operations. This is what's causing concern among their employees. And in the United States, Fort Myers Police Department has sent a special thank you message to staff of their local Lee Memorial Hospital treating COVID-19 patients. They formed a heart outside the hospital by arranging their police vehicles. The officers organized 15 police cars and stood in the middle of the heart holding signs reading FMPD thank you for, and as the cars in fact flashed their red lights and blue lights at the same time. Well, as we talked about, April 22 is Earth Day. It's celebrated all over the world as Earth Day, but this year is special because it's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. The theme of this year is climate action, and so let's all take a pledge to make every day Earth Day on the planet Earth. And before we wind up this bulletin, let's listen to the Earth Anthem, which was made for this year's Earth Day. Stay home and stay safe.